So for YouTube, my go-to camera is the Canon 80D. I love this camera, but I can't always take it with me, so my second favorite camera is my iPhone 7 Plus. It's pretty crazy to compare the two, right? You have a professional camera on one hand, and on the other, you have a phone that can surf the web. You swipe right to find your soulmate. Oh yeah, and it's a camera too. I'm gonna start off by saying I was shocked at how good the iPhone held up in good lighting conditions. But it's obviously not always gonna be as good as the DSLR. So I'm gonna run some tests on when I really need to be shooting with the 80D, and when I can live without it and just shoot with iPhone. The DSLR is obviously going to give you a much better time-lapse at night because you can long expose each frame. But the iPhone automatically stabilizes the time-lapse, so that's super convenient. You can stabilize the DSLR time-lapse in post, but I'm super lazy, so no thank you. The DSLR is definitely much crisper when it comes to slow motion, but you're limited to 60 frames per second. The iPhone goes up to an impressive 240 frames per second, but you definitely see a drop in quality. I filmed this on my older iPhone 6S, and it's definitely one of my favorites so far. If you're curious how we did that, check out Nicholas's video. I believe he's the first one to come up with the center phone technique, and he also has a video on how he did it. For this part, I'm going to be using an 18 to 135mm since it's a similar range to the iPhone. Okay, so both cameras are zoomed out all the way, and actually the iPhone almost seems to have a slight advantage in terms of sharpness. Now let's zoom in all the way on both cameras. I personally don't like the way the iPhone looks when it's zoomed in, but I must say I was expecting the iPhone to look worse considering it's a digital zoom. So now it's dusk and we're starting to lose some light as I casually walk around in a very natural fashion. Now that we have a little less light, if you zoom in on the iPhone, I notice it really starts to break apart the image. If you look at the cars in the background, you'll see that the iPhone has a pretty hard time maintaining the details. Now the beauty of DSLRs are that you can switch out the lenses, so let's switch it out and throw on an 85mm Zeiss lens. The iPhone's been zoomed in to match the 85mm lens, but you'll see that it's pretty grainy and I would consider this to be unusable. So now after seeing that the iPhone doesn't hold up well against zooming in the dark, I zoomed it all the way out and walked it in to get a similar shot scale. So now I'm going to do the same exact thing with a 35mm Rokinon lens. Now let's try switching up the setting. After looking at a few more of these comparisons, I think it's safe to say if you're in a dark environment, try not to zoom that iPhone in. But I must say when the iPhone's zoomed out, I am pretty impressed at how it picks up in low light. I was expecting it to be much worse. The front-facing camera is a downgrade from the main camera, so keep that in mind in selfie mode. By the way, if you're ever in the East Los Angeles area and looking to discover some talented local bands, check out the Hi-Hat and Eagle Rock. Now, even though I am impressed with the iPhone, I absolutely hate the highlight roll-off. If you don't know what that means, just look at his forehead and arm. The DSLR does a good job maintaining all the skin tones, but the iPhone just completely blows out to white, which is a big problem if you have sourcey lights. So here's a dynamic range test. It's high noon and the subject's in the shade. I think the Canon still pulls more color and details out of the shadows, but the iPhone is surprisingly close. All right, so here's an unideal lighting situation. I'm under direct sunlight and I got some shadows from these trees. All right, so now we're outdoors. This is sound from the iPhone, and now we're gonna switch over to the sound from the 80D. Does it sound different? It's the internal mic on the 80D, blah, 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 blah. I have no idea what else to say. So now I have the Rode Video Mic Go plugged in. In theory, this should pick up my voice a little bit cleaner and kind of isolate some of the side sounds, but we'll see, I guess. So now I'm like 15 feet away from the camera. Here's the sound from the iPhone, and then now we're gonna switch to the 80D. This is the Rode Video Mic Go, like 15 feet away. We're outdoors. So obviously that was pretty terrible. If you're gonna be filming at a distance like that a lot, then you definitely want one of these, a wireless lavalier. Especially if you're gonna be moving around a lot and you're gonna be kind of far from the camera, then this is perfect. Parkour, yeah. All right, so I'm here with Jesse. We're gonna do a vlog style interview. I'm gonna switch between the two cameras. You guys can decide for yourself which one looks better or worse.
What's up, guys? I'm Jesse. Good to see you guys.
Yeah, so what do you do?
I'm a stuntman. I work in the film industry, making actors look good and banging my body up.
Because of their bad.
How was it working on The Purge?
Dude, had a blast on that one. Played a freak in the mask that broke into the house and had a lot of fun, man. Got shot by Ethan Hawke.
Pretty impressed with the image stabilization on the iPhone 7 Plus. It's an optical stabilization, but I'm pretty sure there's some digital compensation in there too. The macro's pretty impressive on the iPhone. You can get surprisingly close. So my personal verdict, I will always bring my DSLR if I can. Lenses are a huge deal, so that opens up a million more options. But the iPhone holds up much better than I expected. So in certain cases, I may just leave my DSLR behind. But I'm curious to know what you guys think after seeing some of these results. Let me know in the comments below, and thanks for watching.